MAMAAFRICA is a conceptually based educational program.
It's a project where they're doing dancing and research. The dancers are basically doing a traditional African dance, and the researchers are doing poems about Africa.
The African art form, traditional dance form and music form is very rich, and I believe it serves the human being.
The MAMAAFRICA project is an educational instrument that's there to weave different threads of information, and now the facilitators are bringing it in the form of research and also through the form of dance.
It's about sharing, it's about education, it's about inspiring the younger generation.
It's 8 to 10 artists going into schools. Some are dancers, some are drummers. You get 2 dancers per school, 5 schools, all get taught a dance. Meanwhile, the research team will go into the school, same school, and they teach a research project.
The poetry question is, if you were an African instrument, what would you be and why?
The whole year group does the project, where you can choose a few.
Yeah, you can either choose the
African
the dancing or the research.
It's about making it fun for the children and letting them be creative and learn about Africa and what Africa has done and is doing in music and inspiring people, to be honest.
To the rhythm. The rhythm.
Encouraging young people to learn from a personal perspective, which means they're involved in it, and it's not just they're reading about someone else and then quoting somebody else. They're reading from it, making their understanding from it, and then bringing their own quotes and becoming new academics, if you want to call it that.
For me, it was one of the best things I've ever been involved in my life. It was just absolutely incredible. Getting the opportunity to share what I absolutely love and to work with the artists that I was able to work with was just incredible. The whole journey was just fantastic, and the whole performance that the school did at the end was, amazing.
It is good fun. The music's brilliant. The teachers are brilliant. You will enjoy it, definitely.
The dance project is about African life. So perhaps in Africa you would be planting seeds. They'll go down there, plant your seeds, and after they'll do run your horse. Yes, go.
Let's do the horse.
Okay, you do that one.
We do the horse. When I do dance, I feel like that's the time that I can shine and I can improve my skills and not show off, but show other people how to do dance, and I love dancing.
Other people that I wouldn't have expected have joined in and stuff. Joined in with the dancing that don't like dancing.
I've gone to lots of classes. I've done tap. I'm doing ballet now, which I'm quite enjoying. It's definitely not like African dancing at all.
There are a lot of repeating steps with crossing over your legs and things, and then you do a lot of low down things and then go up.
African drumming
It's
African
really
dancing.
lively.
Yeah, it's lively and kind of with the beat.
The Western style of dance, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 and change. But with the African drumming and dance, it's the drum that actually telling you, so you have to listen more carefully. Your rhythmic sensibility is more heightened.
So our example is, we're going to sing one, and we're going to respond, singing the second line, okay? Then they're going to go,
People need to see it, people need to experience it. You can watch it, but then until you dance, until you think, and then you have to write, that's 2 totally different experiences. You can watch X Factor and those kind of things, but until you sweat and get confused because there's a dance step from Guinea and the drum you've got hit, it just does something to your whole body.
It has been hard, but it's more fun now that we know the dance more. And these girls just today, they were just doing a little dance and they just make up it. And then Kenzie said, "Oh, let's put that in the dance at the end and stuff."
So I think they're like really creative with their dance moves.
Celestine is a really good African dancer.
And a good singer.
Kirby, our drumming teacher, and who's doing the drumming, kind of said Kenzie jumped like a gazelle in the air.
I mean, like her drumming as well.
She's really good, and she's like sorts people out, and she like helps us like in how to do the moves and stuff, and she joins in too. She's like an extra teacher.
We didn't go in, do the job and then go home and then don't think about it until the next week. We dissected everything, and that way, yeah, I just think we really unified and we got more out of it.
All the same, we create footprints that last forever. African music is interwoven through our lives.
You don't just teach them the dance, the physical, then you teach them, you work with the brain and the research, poetry for instance. Those two together, for me, just brings up something different in a human being. What is it you're trying to say? We began the same but we end different. What is it you're trying to say?
It started in Africa, but now all the individual countries.
Generally, if you're going into a school and teaching a workshop, then you don't get that kind of contextual information. So this is a really unique project, but it's really necessary to have that historical information.
It's important because everybody was like the start of human life started in Africa.
Knowledge is good because you then therefore you can understand, and more in later on in life you can be like stronger, and you just know lots of stuff.
Part of our research is emotional intelligence. How does it make you feel? And what do you think? When do you feel that? Where does it take you? What does your mind do? Visualization.
That first line I read is massive. We are all Africans. Say it again.
We are all Africans, individual which make a whole.
Yeah. Second line.
My heart beats to rhythm.
Boom! Them two lines alone, it's breaking people up. Take your time, it's a lovely poem.
MAMAAFRICA doesn't tick certain boxes, but it fulfills a person. Yeah, it gives you more expression, it gives you more conceptually ways of thinking, open. So why it's difficult to teach is that we need to get one-to-one with the teacher, so that when we go into the school and we share what we share with the teacher, he or she can then pass it on to the young people.
Come on! Come on!
What we show them is a dancer and a researcher coming into your school doing this thing, and then they're going out. Let's be able to show them what the research is about, where these resources are looking to go long term, where the dance is, what they mean, from how a dance and drumming, how they actually can heal the body. Without being able to get all that across to the teacher, what we're seeing is like a Wear Black History Month thing.
The whole point of MAMAAFRICA research is that you're not focusing on slavery or the civil rights movement, which is what all Black history tends to look at.
We got support made because of Black History Month, and people see they got to be supporting Black History Month. After Black History Month goes quiet.
They brought it in the 60s because there was nothing at all, and there was education was zero as for who am I as a black person. Now, 30, 40, 50 years on, we should be at a stage where this is conversation going on all the way through.
I want people to realise that it's not just a black thing, it's an us thing, yeah? Global thing, like we say.
The approach was to look at actually the pride and the culture of the continent before looking at the oppression. You know, so a young black person or a young white person can look at the history and culture of Africa from a position of pride and unity, rather than this sort of overbearing sense of oppression and poverty and all the rest of it.
Yeah, we always celebrate Black History in school.
We would be researching, like in the class we'd be researching on laptops and all this stuff. we will be in class doing projects, writing about a person like John Pinney, Rosa Parks and stuff like that.
Every year it's just the same thing and it's quite boring. We're just looking at facts and writing them down. And here we're actually getting really involved in dancing and finding out facts as we're doing it.
I didn't think enough was being done on Black History Month, much less outside of it, in educating and giving a wider scope and a much more respect for the continent and what it's done for us, the world over.
It's definitely good to research about all of the famous black people, and not just the famous ones, the people
like everyone.
Yeah.
I don't understand why that can't be part of a normal curriculum study, a normal study in people's lives, which will just diffuse so much negativity.
It definitely needs continuation and more exposure. And because it's going to help a lot of children.
It will help. I don't know how much it will help, but if we do a bit, it might stretch further, but it will help. And it will help an individual, it will help a teacher, it may help a school, it may help a community.
You can't have any businesses, you can't have houses, you can't get high-paying jobs, but you're free. Is that free?
Yeah, a bit.
A bit, you're right, it's freedom, a bit. But is it a fair freedom? Is it what they spoke about?
We want to take it further than just Black History Month. It has to, in order for it to work. Otherwise it becomes tokenistic again. The Bristol City Council decided to support us this year and be partners with us based upon what they saw on the internet from last year's project. And the mayor was very keen to support the project.
George Ferguson was part of the anti-apartheid movement, Freedom Nelson Mandela campaign, so he's got an interest in the subject, and there's two things. There's the emergent Bristol curriculum that you want to look at in terms of education resources, and there's Nelson Mandela's legacy.
A lot of information and knowledge that I have gained is through my elders and the people that I know. In general, when it comes to African people's dance, there is a huge lack of resources available.
Combining visual with audio and readable information is beautiful.
94, but before that he broke the law. He was in prison for 27 years, but he stayed strong and never shed tears.
All the information that we've collated, by the time we really work together with the council, we should have something really beneficial to school teachers and children.
Most of the research questions are a sort of poetic response to a certain thing. The music video is different, and it's rap, which is a different kind of poetry, and it's hip hop, which is a different kind of music, although the roots are the same. And I think Rubber was probably a bit nervous about it because he likes the live thing, and Asafo as well, that performance. I'm on stage, there's an audience, and I'm challenged, whereas the music video is one removed from that, but it is a different kind of challenge, and it was a challenge for the kids.
Came from the bottom and he went to the top. He got up on tide and made it stop. He made a commitment that he wouldn't break. They put him in prison, a big mistake.
The focus on Nelson Mandela was an interesting focus, but it's always a challenging focus, because what you do, decisions you make, they don't necessarily mean who you are. Nelson Mandela was a great man. He had to make some funky decisions to kind of move what he thought was move forward. A lot of us don't quite agree with those decisions, but there's no reflection on the man himself, what he did and the lifestyle he brought and the struggle he was and how he represented the people. So to bring it up into the public eye, you want a discussion.
The whole problem with the Nelson Mandela thing is that if you scratch the surface of it, it's a very different story than it is if you actually get into it.
Whenever you talk of Nelson Mandela, everybody wants you to be happy. They never really want to take the other side. So automatically they want you to fit a particular stereotype.
I didn't actually feel that the Truth and Reconciliation Committee actually cut this apartheid thing. I didn't think it gave the land back to the people. It didn't change any townships. it left the schools in the townships broken down. So what was its intention? You know, was it just, what was its intention? There was no real, I still can't see it now.
In a process like that has affected millions of people, you'd have to do it over, you'd probably have to do it for as long as apartheid was a factor. If you really wanted to create a truth and reconciliation commission process that can actually encourage healing, that can actually hold perpetrators accountable.
It brought peace and it stopped our people from revolting against the white people there. But what's happened is that the black on black violence has increased to just ridiculous amounts. So, which is not being talked about.
All the people that gained from colonialism and from apartheid, all of them has managed to keep their gains and have been allowed in the 20 years with the so-called democracy to entrench their wealth.
The legacy of Nelson Mandela must really see that the man did want to provide equal change for a whole, and he achieved that. He achieved that by making sure that South Africa went through a democratic elected process, and therefore he's a great man for that. But he is not a great man for having provided political and economical freedom to the people that he served.
His wisdom, he used his wisdom to see, I don't want bloodshed anymore, so I want peace. His wife, her wisdom was saying, peace, but then we're still in poverty. You know, we have to still fight.
Yes, the situation is much better in a political sense than it was during apartheid, or just on a human sense, but actually in an economical sense, on a social sense, it's become worse.
How can the people that he aimed to serve still be in the same positions now?
We have diamonds, we have platinum, we have gold, we have silver, we have copper, we have bronze, we have iron ore, we have 4 climates. We have a tropical, subtropical, Mediterranean, and we have savanna. We have 2 oceans. We have 2 freshwater sources. You know, so in the context of what we naturally actually have, the natural wealth that our country has, there would be no reason for any poor people, or for angry people, or for struggling people.
He did his best, and we appreciate him for that. He did the best that he can possibly do, you know. He was just soft.
He's making decisions which I might not agree with, but regardless, I'm not in his situation. I'm not. The apartheid regime was so wicked, so evil that we cannot, there's no conceptualization we can have from here. I can never judge a man except for to say whoever's oppressing someone else is not a good person.
Nelson Mandela was one of the main men that smiled at every single figure. You know, now I'm no puppet, but I really can't smile at every single person in the world. At some point I need to be able to show who are my friends and who are not. He was friends with everybody, you know, and I don't think as a leader you have friends with everybody.
The guys have helped to bring a very real perspective on South Africa, and they've told me a lot of things from a South African perspective, which I thought from my own little world. They're telling me, yeah, of course, enough people are thinking, well, I'm still in Soweto. Look around me, I'm still still a shanty town.
His responsibility was to address the issues of the poor. If we look at documentation and how finance had worked when he was there and when he's left and still now, still see that it does not serve the purpose of the poor. So therefore the conclusion must be that his office did not achieve the objective that they put out to the people. And I think, you know, looking at Nelson Mandela, you need to look at that too. How many people say they're going to do this and they don't do that?
You still have people, even up until this point, who are still protesting for better housing, for toilets, for better education. So everything that was promised by Mandela and his administration, very little of that has come to fruition. You know, very little.
That's the whole political game that Nelson Mandela wanted to be out of. He wanted to be someone that was a doer, but it just ended up that everything that he wanted to do just didn't work out. But he still has the spirit of a doer. and that we can credit for a long time to come.
I met this English lady coming down the stage yesterday after seeing the Nelson Mandela film. And she was like, whoa, I just felt, for the first time she said, and she's been all over the place, been into Africa, she said, I felt from the impressed conversation, and it's the first time she'd really felt it. And I was like, to be honest, that's beautiful. Because she goes, I just don't know what to do. It's like, no, you're already doing what you need to do, is that you're bringing it to me, or to anybody you see, and saying, it's not like you're to blame, or you should feel, it's like, this hurts. What do you feel? We can have conversation.
This year, Rubber had the wisdom and the foresight to put an artist training weekend right in the middle of the project.
There is a deepness within the rhythm, within the music, that I don't think a lot of people fully understand. It has magic, it has beauty, it has physical fitness, it has spirituality, it has moral consciousness, it has a lot of things that serves a community and serves an individual.
There's all this answer and call and answer, and polyrhythms going on. And so the dancer has to really concentrate on the drum language as well as keeping on time with the general music.
The language is very hard.
How does the move fit with that? Because that's like...
For me, it's a language that we have to more pay attention than any other thing, than even the movement itself.
With the training that we were really privileged to have, and to have Nee come, who's from Ghana, to work with us was, a real honour.
Most of the dancers have experienced African dance before and teaching as well. This particular dance, though, must have really grabbed them because it really is very, very powerful.
You put a bunch of highly skilled, talented, passionate artists in a room together doing what it is that they truly, truly love to do, then some very deep emotions will get unearthed.
I think the dance itself is a real sacred, powerful dance, so that was bringing up a lot of emotions in people.
The drummers were stretched as well, and I actually remember a lot of drum languages myself. And it really, with the singing as well, it really takes you into another space, if you like. It's not very hard to describe.
It's about the earth, it's about nature, it's about beyond.
I think the music is trying to get you closer to the next dimension. And just a peep inside, that there's more than what we see around us on a daily basis. And music can do that.
People might have discovered new edges in their own physicality or expression. They might have discovered a new frontier of their own creativity. Or maybe they were just getting in touch with a deep loss and a deep need for this kind of thing in their life more often. A lot of people just found that it's what's missing in their lives.
For me, I'd already accepted the fact that it was going to be challenging. Rubber had told us that in Ajudo they spent up to a year learning this dance, and we had 2 days. So I knew it was going to be hard, but I'd already accepted the fact that it was going to be hard. So I didn't get frustrated with myself for not getting things. I was just letting it go in and letting it be.
It was a very emotional experience, really, for some of the dancers.
Yes, I've been very surprised at how much emotion it's brought up for me. just being challenged so much.
That's where the growth happens. So there was massive amounts of personal growth. There was a bonding and a togetherness that was just beautiful for the team.
Everybody here is like family to me. So me crying here now is, I don't think I could do that in any other space as much as I'm gonna cry right now. You know, everything has to be dealt with. It has to be, and that's why I've always loved African dance, because it is all about and has always been about going back to the roots. And if you can't go back there, then how can you truly move forward?
To be fearless in your vulnerability, and to be really strong in your humbleness, and to allow others to catch you when you fall. These are the big, profound life's lessons that get unearthed in a weekend like this.
The moments where I felt like crying the most, I was able to laugh. and that really meant a lot to me.
You know, at the end of the day, when you're a facilitator, you're always giving out. It's what you believe in, it's what you do, but you are always giving out, and the focus is on the other. So this weekend was our food. It was our nourishment. There was a lot of life force in the room.
My hope for the future is bright. Music bolts through my soul.
Last year they had, we call it poetry because it's a written word, but actually performance poetry requires a lot of work, a lot of going in, coming out, expression, passion, whatever, but you need to put a lot of things into it. So we've touched that a little bit more this time with the schools. So you should see a little bit more of a interactive performance for the young people. That was the frustration for me. That was what was lacking, was that they came and they read and then they went off. Sometimes you couldn't hear them. Sometimes the microphone was up there. Sometimes they would stand. You know, so we didn't have full time. We wanted to teach them mic technique. We wanted to teach them all that stuff. But it's like in that 45 minutes or even in an hour we get spare, there's still all these things that come out.
It's pressure, really. At those 6 weeks, it's only 6 times 45 minutes.
Week 1 is teaching. Week 2 we have to let them develop their teaching, so we give them time to study. So we're not there. Week 3 we can go back in, but by now we know we've got week 6 coming up and week 4's off, so we've got to get stuff to them. But if we teach them too many new things, then the teacher can't help them in the half term. So then we come back week 5, and do you know what I mean? So it's like our actual teaching time or sharing time was really reduced.
I didn't feel like I'd ever had any moments to just sit down with the children and talk to them and to impart some of the things that I wanted to impart. There wasn't time. As soon as we got in, it's straight into the warm-up, straight a quick chat, quick check-in, and then boom, we're rehearsing. So yeah, I felt a bit frustrated by that. I had so much material that I wanted to chew over with the children and to really kind of pull them in as to where we were at and why we were doing what we were doing. So those kind of fundamental questions never really got chewed over with the children.
Yesterday we were putting down the bullet points and we were putting into a position, and today we were rehearsing.
But that's not 2 whole days. Yesterday we only had 20 minutes.
This project has so much. It's a huge topic. It's, you know, there's so much and we have so many ideas and we're so limited with time. So we've not been able to explore and share in the way that we'd like to with the children.
There was times when I went back into school and I'm like, oh my God. When I saw this one school, week 5, we gone in there, she said, okay, can you show us what you're up to? They got out their computers and they were just about to do a PowerPoint presentation. Week 5. That's the first thing that they done. Week 5. We give them the question in week 1.
Well, I've been to one school where I've been running between there watching cartoon, yeah? So that particular teacher is not really onto it. And in that particular school seems to have a slight problem.
last time there was more children that took it on board more quickly.
It's children that have maybe never danced, or children that have never seen or done African dance before. It's a completely new world to them, and they're having to learn all of this and then perform.
1, 2, 3, and play. Remember, let your head follow your hands.
Once the children are concentrating, they tend to give it a go, and they try to correct their movements, their posture, and things like that. I'm sure we'll still get a great show out of it.
I'm very confident. I'm used to the panic. I do panic. I run around, but I'm so confident that we're going to turn out all right. And I think it's because if you're used to working under stress for almost 30 years, you learn how to kind of cope with it a certain way. And worry is positive, because it means you're trying to get everything done.
It's not scary, it's exciting, but you don't know if it's going to go wrong or not.
Some children, up until the last week, they look like they won't get it, but put them on the stage, they do well. So there's something about the human psyche that works that way, and it helps us. But I'd like to think that's because we are used to working under pressure.
They're working us really hard, so I'm sure it will be fine.
5 was kind of nuts. Because everyone's feeling the pressure now, everyone's feeling the stress. Everyone then starts asking for extra sessions. Children aren't up to scratch. We're manically getting the assembly performances slotted in.
We need to see at what stage we're at, the week before, so we can make last minute adjustments, if necessary.
I'm trying to slow you down.
We're losing the clarity.
Once we hit Tunzin Kulu, I'm going to hear me. I'm going to do my best to keep the speed here. You haven't got to rush.
Slightly a little bit more worried than last year. I don't think that the children are pressured. I think it's more like the tutors are pressured, I think. Because I think the children, they will just go with the flow. I think they will just do what they can do, and I know they'll do their best. But I think it's more the pressure on the tutors that we really want it to look good,
It's all about trying to make the evening shorter, because we only get maybe 2.5 hours to rehearse all the children on the stage, put the backdrop up, set the music up, get the sound, get the lighting, but 2.5 hours to do that. So if we can sort out a lot of problems outside that, it helps.
Whenever you bring in something as beautiful as what this project is into a school, it's going to be successful, because it's going to touch how many, 200 kids? And so, the simple fact that children are singing, dancing, playing drums, actually looking within to find their poetry, researching stuff that they might have never looked at before, all of that is going to be successful.
The more we can show the relevance of our work, I think it will enable it to move into the mainstream.
The lessons this year have been greater, and some of the ideas that got chewed over were greater. So that whole storytelling and weaving of the night that we attempted is a fantastic idea that we can implement again next year.
How am I the way I am? How am I of this skin tone? How are you of that skin tone?
most importantly is being able to see how a group or a project can be an instrument of change within a school curriculum. And that will then obviously give strength to communities, that will give strength to parents, so they know, wow, maybe I'd like to plan a particular curriculum for our children. Let's get together, and if their voice can be heard, like ours, hopefully will, it clearly is being heard, then that will give a voice to other people to mobilize them.
You know, it's funny, as a mother, there's part of me that can't quite, I'm so obviously amazed and proud and engaged, but there's part of me that just can't quite believe I still can't even believe I'm a mum. So I look at them, I can't believe I've got them, let alone seeing them, you know, on a big stage like that and properly performing to that amount of people.
One thing can set parents to change the way they think about the continent, their children, their relationship, their children around it, a teacher or a child. Yeah? Just take that one thing, and that's why I'm hoping if we do 30 children, and all 30 children get their 1, 2 or 3 things to change their future, change the way they feel about themselves, now they know that, oh, we're all one, we come from one roots, we're all this. There's no more separation, there's no more this. The teacher just taught me that I'm a person, I'm a human being, not English, not African, I'm a human being.